Yeah,
I didn't
cool.
realize you got a double game week this week. So
Yeah, but I can't. I'm going to see Hosier on Wednesday night, so I'm not going to see it.
Mm. Oh, I know
Um,
where I'd rather be, I think.
yeah, yeah. Uh, well, we're away anyway, but yeah, so I'm not going to get to see it, and then we're at home against Leicester on Monday, and I might just try and not. I might not work the Leicester game. I might just go and watch it. So yeah, but yes,
Who you sing Hosier or the Hoosiers?
Hosier, yes. Not yeah. So I said that to someone I'm seeing Hosier, and they were like, "Oh yeah, goodbye, Mr. A." I was like, "No, no,
Well,
Hosier."
I was gonna use Goodbye Mr. A as a lead in for will it be Goodbye Mr. Rooney, but it's not gonna
Oh,
work. It's the wrong
oh
band.
no, do it
So
anyway. We'll put it in anyway. That's a good
okay.
intro. Hello, I'm Daniel Sketchler.
And I'm Callum Byrne.
We've been friends for more than 10 years, sharing lifelong passions such as film and music,
But most importantly, football through the ups and the downs.
the celebration and the heartbreak.
However, he's a blue nose.
And he's a villain.
This is the Second City podcast.
Hello, Cal. How are you keeping this fine Monday evening?
Right, Dan. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. What about yourself? Christmas is around the corner.
2 weeks as we're recording, 2 weeks tonight. Not sure
Yeah.
where. Yeah, it's still sprung up on me a bit. We've had our Christmas decorations up at work for quite a long time, and yet I still feel like Christmas has like snuck up on me and stuff. But
It's a weird one actually, because I was looking at my work schedule as well this week. I was like, oh crap, next Friday is my last day. Like that's
really,
yeah, and it's like, what it kind of feels like 3 or 4 weeks away, and it's very rapidly not being that.
yeah. Do you remember like when you were in school and it'd literally be like, oh, like, counting down the days, and it's like I don't
Yeah.
know.
I do always remember this part of the year where like the tree's up, you're
Hmm.
not really doing a lot in school. It's all relatively easy, and you just like, what's the point? Just go.
Yeah, completely. Um, you've had a lot of festive cheer as well already, uh,
Yeah.
in the football world.
Yeah. And
Are you not?
we both attended matches this week as well, which is probably the
Yeah,
first time we've both gone in the same match week, I think, since
yeah,
we
probably,
started.
yeah, yeah. Obviously, Blues and Villa never tend to be at home. Oh, well, obviously, unless there's some bizarre circumstance, they're never at home on the same week.
Mm.
But yeah, you went to a big. Did you go to both? No, you went to one game, didn't you?
I went to one game, yeah.
I got on an away day on Friday night. Not the best away day I've ever had.
But not the worst away day
Not,
either, Dan.
not even the worst I've had in 2023, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've always said though, like I don't know, you kind of, especially with blues, like you can't really let, as much as the result tries its hardest to like ruin it. You just got to enjoy the night out and like I don't know, new stadium and all that.
I mean, away days are more than just the football, aren't they? It's everything that sort of goes part and parcel with it.
Of course. But we'll get onto all that properly later.
Yeah.
So this week we'll obviously start as we always do with what we're wearing, and just based on like a first look, we've gone very similar this week in terms of
We're the bumblebees this week, Dan.
yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, interesting. We'll get onto that. Then we're going to talk. I think we're going to talk first about Villa. After that, Villa's week. We'll kind of talk about all in one big section, and then we'll get into Blues. Obviously, uh, Blues have had very different weeks, so it should be very interesting to get into. And then a little bit of housekeeping as always, and then we'll get into previewing the coming week's games. Some interesting stuff coming up this week as well. So yeah, and we've started adding. So in the bio, there should be some timestamps as well. So if you want to jump around, you say you want to listen to the blues bit first, or something like that. We're going to put timestamps in from now on, so you can see jump to the section maybe you're most interested in, and so on. Just makes it a bit easier to navigate around the podcast. But listen to the whole thing. Do listen to the whole thing from start to end. Obviously, it's all
Yeah.
grand.
The point is that you do listen to the whole thing, but if you are only interested in one bit or the other, then you can
Yeah,
just jump around.
yeah, absolutely.
So,
Sweet.
what we're wearing.
Yeah. Who should start? Who should start?
I think the person with the black and yellow kit should go first.
Right.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. But for anyone on the audio version, yeah, we've both gone for black and yellow away kits. But I think yours is a lot newer than mine. Well, it is a lot
Yeah,
newer than
it
mine.
is, yeah.
Um, shall we start with you? I'll start with you.
Yeah, yeah. You might as well go first because you're already guessing. So,
Yeah. So it's a Castore. I gotta admit, if it wasn't for that Villa badge, it'd be a nice kit. Um,
Can you see this? Can
Yeah.
you see the sort of pattern in the fabric of the black
Is it meant to
shirt?
be like the Birmingham
I
thing?
think it's just a pattern in the fabric, to be
Oh, okay.
honest.
You had one kit which was like a map of Birmingham on the pattern or something.
Yes, I had that a few weeks ago.
Oh yes, it is. Yeah. No, so you're in a black and yellow trim Castore kit. Kazoo's the sponsor.
Kazoo, yeah.
I'm gonna say is must be
I,
fairly
I've
new.
got another clue with this kit before you guess, because
Yeah.
there's a player on the back.
Okay.
So,
Well, Ollie Watkins. 11.
Watkins 11.
I'm gonna say 2021 away.
It's last year's third kit.
Oh, okay. So 22, 23, third.
Yep. Yeah, a really nice kit. To be honest, I remember when our kits got announced last year. It's always tended to be the last couple of years of the three kits that come out. There's always one I really don't like. Like the
Mm.
home kit is relatively as you'd expect, and year on year, I think you've had some more funkier away kits, home kits than we've had in the last couple of years. Ours have tended to be quite safe, and then yeah, I didn't like the blue sort of pajama away kit we had last year, but this one really stood out when the leaks and everything first started coming out. Um, I think you're the same. I'm a sucker for a yellow kit, a good yellow kit and a good black kit. They're two just great football shirts. And so this was nice to have a bit of both, that sort of mix between the two. We had a yellow and black, but I guess an invert of this with Macron the year we went down. That's a great kit. I really liked it, but I'll never buy it because it's the relegation kit. Um, but yeah, I really, really liked this kit. We had some really good memories in it. We tended to wear it a bit more than the home kit. For a good, sorry, more than the away kit. Blimey, for the most part of the season. I remember this kit we won away at Southampton. Just as we really got the ball rolling at the sort of like in the early spring of last year under Unai Emery. Um, Ollie Watkins got his fifth away goal in consecutive away games. So he was like the first Villa player, I think, to have done that in this kit away at Everton a few weeks later. Um, I don't think Steven Gerrard won a game in this kit. Shock. I think he only won two games anyway. That's it before he got sacked. I do remember because we wore it away at Leeds. I don't know why we wore it away at Leeds, given that white and claret don't clash. And we had this dreadful 0-0 with Leeds at Ellen Road. And I remember Jan Bednarek wearing this kit. Remember him?
Yeah.
Um, but no, solid kit. I think all of our Castore kits, for the most part, they are safe. They're not bad kits. They're not bad designs, but then there's nothing out there where you wouldn't look at any of the shirts they've made for us and gone, that is an all-time great kit. They're a bit forgettable, but then they're not memorable for the wrong reasons either, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah, the safe pair of hands. Know what you're getting.
yeah.
A James Milner.
Yeah. I mean, and the actual quality of the replica shirts is really good, unlike the quality of the player fit versions of this season's kits.
Yeah, very good. For anyone on the audio, for me, so I'm not actually wearing. Again, I've gone for a. This kit is one of my childhood favorites. Doesn't fit me anymore, sadly. So I'm actually just wearing a Strokes t-shirt. But my representative for what we're wearing this week, I've got hanging behind me. I've got it near now. What are we saying, Cal? Also black and yellow.
I have never seen this kit before. This is going to have to be a real stab in the dark. We can have a good guess though. So
I'll give you a clue.
Lonsdale and
Yeah.
Flyby.
Yeah. Should I give you a clue?
This feels Heskey era. It's around that. I think it's early 2000s sort of era. So I'm going to guess when. Brian, we talked about Heskey the other week, so I should know when he was at Blues. Let's go for 0405 away.
A couple of years out. This is 2006-7 away.
Blimey.
And the clue would have been so on the back is this is the first year I ever got a name and number on the back. And I got my own name, number 9 on the back for my ninth
Look at that
birthday.
font.
I know, yeah, pretty funky. But yeah, I got the whole like as a kid for like my ninth birthday, I got like, the whole kit and everything. Um, and it was 2 days before, I think. No, was it the day? No, I can't remember. It was the week of the World Cup final, 2006, the Zidane um
Ah.
like headbutt. Like we were just going into that season. Let's get this back up. Hope it stays up.
I always remember with like I feel like they must do it these days as well, but I always felt like with the kids replica kits back in the day, they had a smaller font so that they didn't have maybe what you've got with. Why is there a thumbs up massively? Is that on the? If that's on the recording, that'd be a wild one. Where did that come from? That was bizarre. Anyway,
Like maybe
um,
recently that sentence.
yeah, it'll have to stay, it'll stay in the video. So YouTube
Oh,
listeners,
fine.
you've YouTube viewers, you've just got a weird Easter egg. Um, did you find though? I used to remember that the kids replica kits back in the day. They used to have a smaller font so that you could actually fit your whole name on it like the player would, rather than have it going all the way around the
Oh, I
shirt
don't
like
know.
you had
I don't
there.
know. Yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, that's 2006, 7. So it's Bruce era, not quite Heskey era. It was one of the first kits I ever got. I think it's the first away kit I ever got. I'll go as far as to say it's maybe my favorite away kit ever. Maybe apart from that, or like some of the yellow Adidas ones we've had the last couple of years. They're really tasty as well. But it's definitely one of my favorites. The black and yellow is just killer. Absolutely, like, I think it's a great combo. I wouldn't mind just bringing that back soon. We had a similar one a few years later. But yeah, I love that kit. It was a great season. So we've just been relegated, but Bruce stuck around and we brought in loads of fresh blood and players that kind of went on to become like kind of I guess household names, I guess, but like good level footballers like Sebastian Larsson came in, Fabrice Mwamba, Nicholas Bentner, Gary McSheffrey, um, and then like he was already at the club, but like DJ Campbell started getting a lot more like game time. Cameron Jerome came in. Um, so yeah, it was like a lot of fresh blood. The team was really like reinvigorated. And my kind of key, so yeah, we finished second. We should have won the league. We actually got promoted with like a game to spare or something. I actually think Clinton Morrison scored for Crystal Palace in like another game, which sent us up. So it wasn't like we got promoted during a game, if you know what I mean, a game we were playing. And then I think we were already promoted, and but then we lost our last game, so we didn't win the league, and Sunderland beat us to it. But yeah, kind of one of the first seasons I remember, like just from beginning to end, and like the sort of the ups and downs of the season, and yeah, it's, like some really great individual games. I remember like the opening game we beat Colchester 2-1 and DJ Campbell scored, and then Nicholas Bentner came off the bench and scored with like a couple of minutes left. So that was like great. Pretty sure I went with my mom and my sister actually to that game. And then I remember like I think maybe the second home game we beat Crystal Palace 2-1 and it was like a last minute Seb Larsson winner. I remember I was in a box for it. I was really cool. I'd never been in a box before. So that was like a really cool experience.
Yeah, I've never been in a box.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like a 9 or 10 9-year-old. That was pretty sweet. Yeah, beat West Brom 2-0. Gary McSheffrey just absolutely on fire. It was a great game. Um, and then in that kit, we played West Brom away and we were 1-0 down. And it is like one of the best Blues goals like in our lifetime. Like in the last few minutes, Damian Johnson scored this like outrageous, like oh, I don't know. The ball sort of fell to me, just sort of hit it with like his side foot, and it just curved all the way into the top corner, right in front of the Blues end. And I wasn't at the game, but that looks like amazing. Um, and we went through a real like sticky patch where we like lost a few games in sort of October, November time. And then we just went on this like insane run after that where like I think we beat Derby away 1-0 with like a really lucky Stephen Clements like deflected shot. It's a really lucky, dirty win. But it was just the one win we needed that then set us on like a brilliant path toward like on a great run. Like we like battered Sheffield United in the next game. And then I think that was that West Brom 2-0 win. And we were just unstoppable from there, really. It was a really fun time to be a Blues fan. Beat Newcastle 5-1 away in the FA Cup. Like, yeah, just some wicked memories. Um, and yeah, and we got promoted at the end of it, so not too bad at all. So yeah, that's 2006-7 home is that one. Away, 2006-7 away, I should say.
You're making the mistakes I was making.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah. Cool. Shall we get it out the way? Let's get it out the way.
What would you like to get away out the
No,
way, Dan?
the Villa stuff. Let's get the Villa stuff out of the way, 100%. I could talk about Blues, but like uh, let's get the Villa stuff out of the way. Let's get it out of the way.
Well, It has, we are in the run up to Christmas, and it is like we've had an early Christmas present. Santa has been to Villa Park this week. What a week! What a week! And even when we were talking last week, I was quietly confident, but I would have expected somewhere between 2 and 4 points. I mean, if I'd have said on here last week, oh yeah, Dan, we'll win both games. We'll beat Arsenal and Man City. We we both probably would have thought I was talking out my ass. So, um, yeah, I mean, I guess let's just start with the Manchester City game because, uh, I mean, I tweeted this at halftime that that might be one of the best matches I've ever seen from an Aston Villa side. In terms, like, I've been to some great moments in games, like the playoff semi-final and the playoff finals and League Cup semi-finals that that stand out. But in terms of quality of the team we were playing and the quality of the football we were playing, it might be the best. I don't think I've ever seen a Villa team play that well for 90 minutes as well. We've had plenty of times where we've gone, God, we were really good. And then we had the second half. Uh, from the first minute, Manchester City didn't have a sniff. Obviously, they were without some key players like Rodri and Doku. Um, but they still had Erling Haaland on the pitch. They still had Bernardo Silva and Ruben Diaz and Ederson. They still had a lot of big hitters in there. But the game plan worked really, really well, and we just had the better of them. And it genuinely felt for up until we did score, if there was a team that was going to win the game, it very much felt like it was going to be us. We had the chances. I think we had 22 shots to Manchester City's like 2 in the entire match, which is sort of just unheard of. Um, it was a comprehensive victory for a 1-0 game. And there was just excellent performances across the park. And I think we can finally say Leon Bailey has finally arrived at Villa Park. He's having a fantastic season, which we also mentioned last week after his goal against Bournemouth. But he definitely, maybe buying Moussa Diaby is like the best thing that could have happened to Leon Bailey. It's given him that competition for places. He's got to be better. He's got to be scoring goals. He's got to be getting assists. Otherwise, he won't be in the team. And it's taken him to another level. And, you know, he is a bit of a typical winger in terms of, for the most part, wingers can be confidence players. If they're in a bit of good form and there's, everything they touch turns to gold, they'll all look like world beaters. And then when they're not getting the rub of the green, they will be the most infuriating players on the pitch. Um, Leon Bailey, someone who we thought probably might have been sold in the summer if we were looking to cut our losses. A bit like Luca Dean, I think it's fair to say. The turnaround in them two has been absolutely sensational this year, and they're a big part of what we're doing and why we're where we are in the league. I'm pretty sure that's our first league win over Manchester City in 10 years.
Wow.
When we beat them at Villa Park in the 3-2 where Andy Vyman scored a last-minute goal past Joe Hart. Leandro Bacuna scored a free kick that day as well, if memory serves. Pellegrini would have been the manager for Manchester City. Obviously, our last league win at the Etihad, God knows when that was. Probably never. We did beat them in the cup under Lambert at some point after extra time. But in terms of Premier League victories, 10 years. I mean, that says a lot about how bad we were in that 10-year spell and how good Manchester City have been in that 10 years.
Yeah. It's more Man City, not
Yeah.
many teams probably beaten them in the last 10 years or.
No, not at all. And so after that game, coming off this massive high, to win that game, we'd gone above Manchester City as well. I think up into third. And I went to bed that night and I couldn't sleep. Just that adrenaline rush. And I was there, I was like, God, I fancy us against Arsenal. I fancied us against Arsenal anyway last week. I was like,
I fancy you, not Emery.
huh?
What are you going to say? God, I fancy you, not Emery.
I mean, I love Unai Emery.
Well, that's where I thought it was going. I was
Yeah.
like, I went to bed and I thought, I fancy you.
uh, um, But yeah,
Sorry, isn't it, man?
I forgot where I was going with this, but yeah,
Oh,
I couldn't sleep, and we're of this massive high. I was like, I got. Sometimes I think you'll probably find this where watching your team on television is worse than being at the game.
yeah,
Like
probably.
I think back to the Tottenham game a couple of weeks ago and the Manchester City game. Like I can't sit down. I'm agitated. I'm pacing, or I'm like crouched by the telly, or I'm like hiding behind the Christmas tree. I'm pretty sure I get it from my dad because he's exactly exactly the same. When I saw him on Saturday night, he was so the entire second half against Arsenal, he was just pacing in the sitting room, couldn't watch the game. Um, and so I was like, I really wanted to go on Saturday, so I bought a last minute ticket to go. Dropped everything and just went on Saturday. In the whole end, and what an atmosphere! What an atmosphere! And I've never the sort of I haven't felt such confidence inside every fan in Villa Park. You go to a game and you get that feeling when you walk in, whether everyone is up for it or if everyone's expecting you to get pummeled. And we were up for it. It's probably the best atmosphere I've seen at Villa Park in years, probably since the playoff promotion season. It was bouncing, and it was almost pretty much 90 minutes of non-stop chanting. And it's been a while since I've had a game where it's been non-stop chanting. Um, and we made a fast start. The full length clip of our goal is fantastic. All 10 of the 11 players on the pitch touch the ball in the build up to the goal from when we win back possession. Everyone other than Luca Dean has at least one touch on the ball before it goes in the back of the net. And it's like watching 2010 Spain. Like we just pass and move and just cut through them. Um, and it was just an excellent start to the game. Villa Park was very, very loud. The game then, it was then not how I thought it was going to go. I thought, wow, God, this fast start. Maybe if we grabbed another one, like we could be looking at maybe another Brighton or a West Ham sort of game where we just streak off into the distance. And the exact opposite happened where Arsenal pretty much dominated the game for 85 minutes until the final whistle. A complete contrast to the Wednesday night where pretty much from after Haaland's chance in the 11th minute, they never had another look. We controlled and dominated for 80 minutes. And so it was a stressful one. I think it's fair to say it's a weird one. I mean, from an Arsenal point of view, I think they're obviously frustrated. They dominated the game for the most part. They leaked a poor goal, or it was a good goal from our point of view, but there's not great from their perspective, if that makes sense. But they had an off night. They missed so many chances. Martin Odegaard had two sitters that he missed. Saka had a couple of half good chances. They were very wasteful. They had two cleared off the line. One of them was probably offside in the build up. Um, I, you know, one might argue that on another night they would have had a a penalty, or the disallowed goal wouldn't have been disallowed. Um, I don't think it's a penalty. Would I be annoyed if it was the other way around? Probably, but it's a weird one in terms of there is probably a precedent for that being given as a penalty, but I think it's very soft. We shouldn't be giving penalties for that, but there is a precedent for giving penalties for that. That does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, completely.
And then the disallowed goal as well is a quirk in the handball rule
Mm.
where I mean, we've had this rule for quite a couple of, for ever since they messed it up in the lockdown season and they sort of did the handball rule. So we weren't, every time it touched the hand, it was a penalty,
Yeah.
whether it was by your side or what. There's been this understanding for ages that if the ball hits an attacker's hand in the run up to a goal, it'll be disallowed regardless. So the goal was rightly disallowed.
Mm.
Do I believe Jared Gillett saw the handball, or if he just had a half chance of, or just guessed it? I think he guessed it because the replays aren't massively conclusive, so there's no way that he saw it. Um, but obviously it's a quirk in the handball rule where it has sort of hit Matty Cash's arm as well, but the rule doesn't say if it touches the defender's arm as well,
Mm.
whether it's a goal or not. It's just a quirk in the rule, and if you're right in the rules, this scenario, when was this scenario has never happened before. You wouldn't write it in the rules because what are the chances of it happening?
Yeah.
So maybe we got away with it, but a different style of victory. And for weeks, I've been on this podcast going, where's the clean sheet? Why can't we keep a clean sheet? We're just letting sloppy goals in games where we should keep a clean sheet. And we get back-to-back clean sheets against Man City and Arsenal. Of course we have.
Yes. There's yeah. Are you done?
Yeah. I could talk for hours, but I think we've covered the most bases. This is probably until we win the league, Dan, this is probably going to be the happiest I'm going to be on this
I
podcast.
hope so. I hope this is the happiest you're ever going to be on this podcast. Yeah, being at the Blues game the other night and like having the fan, we'll get onto it, but like, I mean, I still joined in, but like the fans singing shit on the Villa and stuff after like the week, the goal for the minute is, it's a little bit, maybe embarrassing's a bit too strong a word because we're Blues, will always sing shit on the Villa, but yeah, just I don't know, there's kind of nothing I could say, it's like I
Yeah.
can't. When you said something like when you were 0-0 against Man City at half time, you put like on WhatsApp something like, "Oh, it's like the best half of football I've maybe ever seen." Bless them, And
Yeah.
it's like, they're drawing 0-0. Everyone has said you were like
Lost one and it's a crisis. It's a hard life, isn't it?
the best team in the world still, in my opinion, even if it's been done by like some rather hectic spending. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be us one day. I look forward to it. But
I mean, I I'm trying to really savor and enjoy this at the moment because it won't last forever.
mm,
I remember when when we were great under Martin O'Neill and I had my season ticket. I'll never forget it. The one I don't know. I can't remember the game or whatever, but I remember we had a good win, and I remember coming out of Villa Park and my dad saying to me, "Enjoy this because it won't last forever." And like we've been rubbish before, and we're in a really good patch at the moment, but you don't know what's going to happen. And as a 12-year-old kid, you're like, "What do you mean? Like we're brilliant and we're in the UEFA Cup and we've got this great team. We'll be good forever." And it's not until things go really badly that you know, you kind of it really hits home, and I'll never forget the feeling like when we lost to you in the League Cup's quarter final or the playoff final defeat. I will never forget walking out of that stadium. I've never been so heartbroken watching
mm.
football. Um, but it's those moments that mean when the good times do come back, and will come back eventually. You're not going to be dreadful forever that really make you savor those. Those are what make these moments enjoyable. Is going through those really tough times
Oh yeah,
and coming
100%.
out the other side.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Which is why I kind of wish, like Blues is the mad success we've had in our lifetime, like
Yeah,
even relative one, like the League Cup win or playing in Europe, a couple of promotions. I wish I was like a little bit older for them all. Because don't get me wrong, it's great when you're a kid, but like my early times, a couple of relegations, yeah, but they're all things Blues bounce back from straight away.
yeah,
I wish I kind of, yeah, I would have appreciated it so much more. I appreciate it now so much more. Now that it's that it's sort of 10, 15 years on from it all. Um, and also though with your games, like I say it a lot, but like for them to be like under the lights, like like Saturday night for the Arsenal one, that must have
yeah,
been. But it just adds something else. It's like
yeah,
proper night atmosphere. Really, something you can't quantify. Just something really special about it.
yeah. And that's at any level. Football, the late kickoffs under the lights. They're always special games at home, and
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I've been to some absolute stinker Tuesday night games,
oh
but I'm on
yeah,
about like
same.
big,
But
big event, like under the lights, probably live on Sky. Them kind of things. Yeah, pretty special.
shall we talk about your away day in Coventry, Dan?
Yeah,
So you had a busy week, but you did manage
yeah,
time to travel all the way to Coventry and back in the night.
yeah. I did. Yeah. So let's talk about positives. I got free parking at the stadium, so that was good.
Yeah.
Um, that was good. The black away kit looked really nice.
Again.
First time I'd seen it in the flesh. Uh, um, I saw
How was
some
your
roll.
view? Was your seat all right?
Yeah, my seat was great. That's a good. Yeah, that's another positive. My seat was
Good
really
leg
good.
room?
Well, we stood up, but yeah. So yeah. Um, Yeah, we were sort of just behind the goal and just to the right. Yeah, really good view. Yeah, I was home relatively quick. That was a positive. Another positive. At one point, John James had a shot, and it was miles over, but it looped back down and landed. Like it was. The thing is, I was so tired. I'd been in work in the morning, and then I'd gone to the game, and John James shot, and the ball was literally coming like right. It was like an asteroid from space, like coming right towards me, and I was so. The game was going so. We was about an hour in at this point, and we are obviously not going to get anything out of the game. And I just sort of like, I just did not react at all. It was coming straight at me, and my mate on one side and this guy on the other side, like just like both like dived to try and get to the ball. So that was kind of funny. That was a good laugh. Like I love a good laugh about that. Uh, yeah, but the game was not a positive. But to clarify, I do say like I kind of knew what I was getting into. We've lost every single away game since Bristol City in August. I think it was the second. I think it was our second away game of the season. So I knew what I was getting into. So like you kind of can't let the football like ruin the night out and all that stuff. I always say that. But it does try because we were dreadful, I would say. I thought we were really poor. And I say every week, like we just need to get through this. We need to just get some we need to just need to get some momentum going, and then I
Yeah.
really hope and think there's a chance this thing with Rooney can get going. But rather alarmingly, he has less points. So he's done 9 games and he has less points than Zola. I,
Yeah, I did see this. His
I
record is now
never thought
worse.
I never thought that would be like obviously let's just like Zola had 24 games, I think it was or something. Um, and I can see little things. We are trying to move the ball. She sounds like it sounds like the most faint praise ever, but I've seen us under Karanka and under Cottrell, and I've seen us literally just lump it and have the ball just is like a ping pong. It's just there's no style whatsoever. There's nothing. I can see us like trying to at least get the ball down and play a bit. I think Jordan James is I really like him. I think he needs to be starting. He's got something about him where he gets the ball and he'll turn and he's got that desire to like pass forward. I like
And
that.
he's in the Wales setup as well, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's smashing it for Wales apparently. Another positive, Ramel Donovan came on. He's 16, I think. Came on with a couple of minutes left, and I know it's only a couple of minutes, but he's got something about him. I think look forward to seeing him develop, hopefully. But no, a 2-0 loss. Obviously, an ex-Villa player who hasn't scored in like 18 months, Callum O'Hare.
It
And
just come back from a really nasty ACL injury.
yeah, and the last time he scored was against Blues in April 2022, and he scored twice against us. And just simple goals. I don't know if you've seen them, but like,
I have, yeah.
yeah, really poor. Like the second one, he almost like just dribbles across the box almost, and like the defense is nowhere to be seen. I thought we looked good for about 20-ish minutes at the start. And even that was like, I think that's just relative compared to what we've been. We were so poor against Rotherham the week before. I think at least the players looked up for it. I thought in the first sort of 20 minutes, we were getting the ball forward, look, getting into the Coventry danger zone and stuff. Um, thought Dembele looked kind of bright, and the players just looked more up for it. And there was a bit of a buzz in the away, and there's like, yes, come on, let's get some in here, let's get some momentum going. And once Coventry had a spell in the game, it never really looked back after that. Once they got the first goal, and then for the rest of the first half, we couldn't really get out of our own half. I didn't think. Second half, we had probably a little spell around 70 minutes where we created a few chances, but I'd argue nothing concrete. Our set pieces were really poor for a lot of the night. We had a few free kicks in dangerous positions and really made nothing of them. And it's kind of frustrating seeing good players who have did it for us earlier in the season or before when they've been at Blues, just not doing it. Bielik really struggled. I thought Buchanan uncharacteristically struggled for a lot of the game, and it was kind of down his side the first goal. Not necessarily his fault, but like they were kind of coming down his side a lot. I thought in the first half. And yeah, and then it was all topped off with that second goal. Uh, Positives, I thought. So look, we had a lot of injuries as well, so that's not a positive, obviously. But Dion Sanderson was out. Kevin Long is still out. Although not that I think he'd be playing anyway.
Tyler
Um,
Roberts.
who? Cody Graham was out as well. So that meant Bakuna had to go back in at right back. Um, but I thought and then meant Mark Roberts came back in at centre back as well. for his only second start of the season. And when you find out Mark Roberts is playing, you're like, oh my God, I'll be still playing Mark Roberts in 2023. But he actually played well, I thought. I thought he had a good game. And people like criticize Jukovic, and I can see why he has his limitations, but he honestly works so hard. He's like honestly like the amount of ground he covers left to right, I genuinely think for a man who's not quick and is 35 now, 34, 35, I do appreciate it. His hold up play is still good in my opinion. He lacks goal threat, but he does at least bring something to the team. Um, but yeah, just a frustrating night all round, and yeah, probably just we know just never look like getting anything. And Rooney's had 9 games now. He's got like 5 points from 40, which is dreadful. But I say it every week, but just I'm certainly not Rooney out. I really want this to work, but something's got to change quick, man. Because we got it's not easy enough. We got hard games coming up between now and the new year. Um, so it is concerning, and like at full time, like the sort of they're coming over, and obviously as they always do, and there's a bit of I don't like to see it, but there's a lot of kind of aggro towards Rooney and the players and stuff. And I understand it, like we paid a lot of money to go, like my ticket was nearly 40
Yeah,
quid.
40 quid, didn't you say? Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that's probably
That's a Coventry thing more than
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
than a Blues thing, but
yeah, of
still,
course.
you still paid 40 quid to
Yeah,
go.
of course. On a cold Friday night near Christmas, people have a right to be annoyed. Um, but I really hope we just, sometimes when you think you're at your lowest ebb, sometimes you can just pull a win out of nowhere where you least expect it, and that can just set you going. We just need that moment to fall for us. But yeah, it was not harrowing. It was a humbling night is the word I should use. But I thought Coventry looked really tidy. I know they're not having a great start to the season, but I think once they get going, I think they can really play. They're like
But they
so
didn't
they're
have a good
clearly
start last year, and they were very close to getting promoted.
yeah, and they're clearly what I think we're trying to be. They can get the ball down, they can play. Their movement is really excellent. Their link up play is excellent. It kind of sums up like Dembele at one point. He got booked for diving in the penalty area, and it was right in front of us, and it's clearly a dive. And I'm like, is this what we is this what we are now? Like really, like diving against Coventry, But my main feeling is like, it just wasn't meant to be like this, like this season started with you go back to listen to like our first couple of
Yeah.
episodes, new owners coming in, Tom Brady is coming in, the club's gonna like do all this stuff and we're gonna fix the stadium and they are doing all that to be fair. There is so much to be positive about, but everything on the pitch has gone really sour. And
It's
obviously
gone
that
very sour very quickly.
yeah, for sure. And this feels like emotionally, the club feels a lot like it has over the last couple of years, the last few years. And I didn't expect that by December. Um, and obviously, you can have all the positive stuff going on at the club, but if you're not performing on the pitch, people aren't going to turn up. The atmosphere is not going to be good. It overrides everything else. So we just need, I say it every week, we do need to just get some momentum back, and I think things will lift. So yeah, we need to get through this. But as we'll get onto later, we got tough games coming up, man. It's tough games, and the away form, I've never known anything like it. I'll do some number crunching this week and try and work out when the last time was that we had an away record this bad. That is 8 straight losses in the league away. That is just unbelievable. Like lost 8 of our 10 away games is staggering. That's absolutely staggering.
At what point do you think the owners have to cut their losses? Because obviously he's now got a worse record than Zola, and I know you said Zola had 24 games and he only
Mm.
had what, 2 wins, was it?
Yeah,
Um,
and he's still gonna get sacked. He
but
resigned.
yeah, it got so bad he had to walk away.
Mm.
Um, but obviously it's different ownership.
Yeah,
But they obviously, the comparisons were made with the Zola thing from the moment they put
yeah.
Rooney in for Eustace. They
Mm.
cannot afford to let it go on to the point where it starts to be like that as well. Because you
Yeah.
could still save that, they could, they won't, but like if you could sack Rooney tomorrow, who's available? I can't remember who's available at the moment, but I don't know, Nigel Pearson's available or
Tony
Warnock's
Mowbray.
available or Tony Mowbray. I mean, what an appointment that would be.
Mm.
Um, throw one of them in. All of a sudden, your season could just switch like that.
Yeah. One thing I just don't subscribe to as well is people going, "Oh, the players aren't good enough." You know, Rooney needs his own players. Like I just don't agree. Like Rooney probably does need his own players to play the style of football that he wants to, and that's fair enough. But he does. There are good players. We were raving about these players just a few
Yeah.
weeks ago, like about 2 months ago or so.
You know,
Like
there
Dembele. I
has to
mean,
be some future planning involved. You know, the likes of a Kevin Long or a John Ruddy are not
yeah, of course.
long-term solutions in the slightest.
No, of course. But like there are good players there. There were players that were performing for us, and we're all saying like, oh, finish top 10, top six maybe. So I don't subscribe to that, and I think with the players we got, we should absolutely be doing better. Um, but I don't think Rooney, and I stand by. I don't think, I think he does deserve, not deserve, but I think he should be given more time to get it right. Absolutely. I don't think there's any chance he gets the boot unless there is like it gets to like the running and we are in serious trouble of going down. I just don't see that at all. And I'm talking like a Zola. Like if Zola hadn't gone, we would have been relegated
Yeah.
100%. Like we couldn't. We just could not do anything under Zola. Zola is the worst manager we've ever had.
Yeah, yeah.
Like people that say, oh yeah, there was something going on there, and at least he was trying to implement something. Zola was terrible. There was no positive to the Zola era. Um,
Other than the win at Wolves.
the one at Wolves, yeah, go on then, yeah. But yeah, I think it would genuinely have to get to like that level because I do think there is, and the club we saw it at the open house stuff. There is this big plan, and I think Rooney is very much a part of it, and I think he was their man that they wanted. So I think it would have to get to absolute desperation for anything like that to happen. I just don't see it. Don't see it otherwise.
It's going to be a week by week thing, but I guess
Yeah.
as you say, all of a sudden back-to-back wins over Christmas, and all of a sudden the picture will change the other way,
Yeah.
I
I guess
suppose.
the thing is, it just feels a long way off of that miracle win, that like fluky out of nowhere win. And I talked earlier in what we're wearing about when we went on a bad run under Bruce in 2006, and we had Derby away, and we were like Bruce was under so much pressure, and we drew nil. No, sorry, we were drawing 0-0, and with like 5 minutes left, Stephen Clements like had a shot, and it took the biggest deflection you've ever seen in your life, and like just hit the defender. I think slid in, hit him, and then the ball's looped over, and it's looped over the keeper, and it's the luckiest goal you will ever see in your life, and it was the most. But then the players went mental. Stephen Clements like runs off, it's like mental, and we win 1-0, and it set us on this. It just like that, like a switch. Then we, big win at Sheffield United, then beat West Brom, and then we went on this insane run that propelled us into the upper echelons of the league. We need something like that. That's what we need. Um, hopefully it comes soon. Hopefully it comes at all. Um, but yeah, it's just a shame the season's. There is like a realistic chance we're in a relegation battle this year, and it just, man, sick of them, man, sick of relegation battles.
Yeah, because was
But
it QPR won back-to-back games out of nowhere, haven't they? And
yeah, I
they
don't think
looked
like,
dead and buried.
I don't think we are. I think in terms of like ability, we are way better than a number of teams in the league. We are certainly not one of the three worst teams in the league. But we just need to find the formula, man. And even I've said it before, even if it means just going back to like some basics and just then we can progress into what Rooney wants to do slower. We need to make sure things don't get. You gotta keep, in my opinion, keeping the positive energy at the club going is important. Like,
Well,
you know what I
he's
mean?
got to make sure he's still there in the summer to implement something.
Yeah, sure. And also, I do agree as well. I understand football is like a long-term thing, especially when new owners come in and a new manager comes in. I understand it's got to be a long-term plan, and you do have to build to the future, and it's
Well,
slow. But
but managers are
fans
not a
pay,
long-term thing, though.
no, it's not. And also, like fans pay a lot of money for like a season ticket this season. You know what I mean? Like, and or to go and watch again. Like, obviously the players are trying to win, obviously. Like, but there's you got to have a bit of positivity now as well to keep people going, get attendances up. I don't know, but yeah, hopefully starting on Wednesday we can turn things around. Hopefully it's not 9 in a row away, but we'll get onto that.
Yeah. A little bit of housekeeping. I don't know if you've got any. I've got a couple of bits. Um, Birmingham Mail were reporting today that so the new North Stand that we're going to get, um, hopefully they're going to start work on that after the Foo Fighters play Villa Park next summer. It does mean that stand is going to be completely closed. I think there was the initial plan was to keep the lower tier open. It looks like the whole stand is going to be closed until the end of the 2025-2026 season. So Villa Park's capacity will reduce to around 36,000 fans rather than 42. Obviously that 42 includes the away fans, as does the 36. But obviously the allocation for away fans will go down because it's based on how big the stadium is. So that's going to be something to look forward to next season, trying to bag tickets for home games, because that's going to become very difficult very
Well,
quickly, especially if we
especially if
keep this
you,
form up.
yeah, especially if you're hopefully not, but you might even be in a better level of European competition next
Yeah,
year.
if we were in the Champions League next year, blimey, it's going to be hard to get tickets. So just as a word of warning to everyone who's listening, it might be good to, if you're not a season ticket holder and you're a member, or if you're not a member, you might want to be a member, because you're probably going to need some form of booking history and be a member next season if you want to get to home games, which is kind of mad, really. Like we, I remember, like, we didn't even have the stadium fully open when we were in the championship, so.
Yeah.
All right, that's kind of crazy. So, and the other bit I had is, and it's part of the reason why I wore this shirt tonight, is because it's one of my Castore shirts, is that the Matt Law from the Telegraph was reporting today that Villa are finally receiving a new shipment of Castore shirts, which they hope will now solve that wet look issue.
Oh, yeah.
But they are yet to be road tested, so they might not work. And he did go on to say, Castore believed that the issue was caused by an imbalance from the BK8 sponsorship on the front of the shirt, but they did accept responsibility and vow to find a solution. And Villa are still expected to end the multi-year deal we have with Castore. The slight issue with the excuse about the sponsorship being the problem for why the entire shirt looks like you've been dunked in a swimming pool after you've run around in it is that we've played away European games where we're not allowed to have the BK8 sponsorship, and that's arguably the worst the shirts have looked.
Yeah, it's a bizarre
Like
excuse,
this,
that
the night in Poland, my God, they looked dreadful, those
is.
shirts, after about 20 minutes. I'm pretty sure I think I said Zaniolo went through about three of them in 90 minutes or 70 minutes or something.
Want to swap shirts of
Um,
would you?
yeah, um, so we'll see. It did look like they had been getting a bit better, but obviously as the temperature has dropped,
Or-
I mean, not that you don't sweat, but you don't sweat as badly
No,
as
not
you
that.
do when it's really
Yeah,
hot.
yeah, but
So
yeah. Cheers, teach. It's like science with Callum. Like,
who knew you were on an educational podcast?
yeah, what a genius. Yeah. No, it's true though. It's true.
I don't like the fact they haven't been road
Oh,
tested.
you
Give them to
hardly.
give them to the academy or something to road test in a PL2 game or the Papa John's Trophy.
Sure.
But yeah, that's all the housekeeping on the B6 side.
Mhm. Cool. Yeah, not much here. Yeah, that's all on the pitch at the minute. Well, I mean, obviously there's a lot going on at the club. We talked about the open house stuff last week, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, the main skinny this week was the Coventry away game. But yeah, shall we move
Goodness.
into the upcoming games?
Yeah, and obviously Christmas is for football, and it is
Oh,
game after game after game after game after game. It's another double game week for us. You've got a double game week this week, although it's a slightly quirky one for you.
yeah,
And
weird.
clearly, Sky Sports weren't thinking of the Second City podcast when they did the scheduling of the
Yeah,
TV
how dare they?
fixtures.
We record on a Monday night, Sky. So how dare you schedule our game up for a Monday night? No, but should we start with Blues then?
Yeah,
We've got Cardiff away on Wednesday night.
on the red button.
On the Red Button and on Blues TV. So or if you want to listen, Radio WM, sure we'll have it. Um, yeah, Cardiff. They will see us as there for the taking because we have lost 8 away games in a row. But yeah, I mean, they're not like one of the outstanding teams in the league, are they? But they're pretty
No,
mid-table. But they'll see us as there for the take, and something's got to change. Yeah, as I've covered in the commentary section, our away from was just dreadful, and I don't see if I'm being absolutely honest, I don't see us getting an away point anywhere at the minute, which is is it a mental thing? Is it like obviously a lot's been said about how Blues for years, when the going gets tough, we like are mentally quite weak. And I feel like it's just a lot of that going on as well. But this is where we need our leaders. This is where Duke, Dion, we need these people to really show their character here and, have their influence. Um, but if I'm brutally honest, I just don't like. Honestly, even Sheffield Wednesday. If we went to Sheffield Wednesday away, I'm not fully convinced. But you can see what he does with the team. I don't know if Dion will actually be back fit now that I say that. I'd argue that Roberts played not so well, but he played well against Coventry that I wouldn't know who he was when I saw the team on Friday. He probably has warranted maybe a start if injuries permit. I don't know what's going on with the right backs as well. Both Laird and Dramer were out, but I thought Bakuna did already drop to the bench, and I'd be trying to Ollie Burke, but if it means putting him back in on like the right wing or something, so be it, or like as the number 10, so be it. Um, but then the following Monday we've got so that's this live on Sky. Monday night we've got Leicester at home. So this we'll probably do next record after that game, so I'll cover it here.
Yeah.
Leicester are the best team ever, so they're probably gonna
Yeah, they've got the best record. I can't remember how many games is it 20 games into the championship already this year?
yeah
They've got them and Ipswich both have the first and second best record in that
yeah
league after 20 games.
yeah
That's
they're
insane.
on course to like all sorts of records. Obviously though it's the big Rooney Vardy rematch. So this time it's personal. So that's probably in large part going to get a lot of interest in the game. Probably going to be, I don't know, scrap on the pitch at half time or something. That might be fun. But yeah, so obviously Vardy still playing for Leicester, Rooney managing Blues should be interesting. Like again, I just don't like Leicester are so good. They are so good at the minute. They are completely primed to go straight back up. We're in this weird period. I
I
just
mean,
don't.
they've basically still got like 80% of their Premier League team.
Yeah, like this is a team. I know a lot of the players have changed, but this is a team that won the FA Cup like 2 years ago. This is a team that won the Premier League just a few years. A club that won the Premier League just a few years ago. Um, I
Semi-finals of the Conference League.
yeah, like they'll probably go back up and they'll probably stay up. Like I just yeah, I just considering Rotherham, we were incredibly lucky to get a draw against Rotherham. Rotherham genuinely could have won that game 2-3-0, and they're crap. Like we're playing a really good championship team. They're probably better than a couple of teams in the Premier League at the minute. Um, so it's gonna be tough. Like it's not inconceivable. I guess sound really negative. It's not inconceivable that we'll come out of this with 0 points. But I hope with the Leicester game Monday night, week leading up to Christmas, let's just. I hope if we can get something against Cardiff, if we would somehow beat Cardiff, the atmosphere of that Leicester game should be a lot better, hopefully. If we can get the crowd going, get the fireworks on, get the fire things going again, like as always, like hopefully just something can pick up at Blues and we can get the crowd behind them and get an atmosphere going. Because like that, when we beat West Brom a couple of months ago, it was special, man. That's what St Andrews can still be a really special place. Um, and so we just need to get that going. Like I say, we just need something to fall for us because until then, it's yeah, bit of a tough time.
We know that Dan's going to lose all hope when they stop putting the fireworks and
I
the
know, yeah.
flamethrowers out on the pitch.
Every week, every week, no matter how bad things are at Blues, when then fireworks start going off, I'm like, yes, yes, let's go, hooray! I'm like, but no, hope, yeah. If any, like, yeah, I love fireworks. Keep them going.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about Villa. You're back in Europe, I believe, on Thursday.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be our last European game till about February.
It's the last ever group games, I believe.
It
Is that
is the last round of the group. Yeah.
but in terms
Um,
of like, is it in the conference as well? They're sacking off the group stage from next season, or is that the Champions League?
I think it's just the Well, the Champions League will
Oh,
still have a group stage next year. It'll just be like two
oh yeah, it's
groups
a
of
weird
like.
like 10 team format. Anyway, you're back in it.
Obviously, we're going to qualify for the Champions League the year they mess it up.
Sure, my ass.
Uh, but yeah. So hopefully it's our last European game for a couple of months because if we're playing it again in January, it means that we haven't topped the group. So we do not want to play that round of 32. I've been saying that for weeks. Um, we can lose the game and still finish top of the group because obviously the head-to-head with Legia is the same. So if we need to lose and they need to beat AZ Alkmaar by a certain number of goals because it'll go to goals scored. But obviously we got quite a decent goal record because we did put 4 past AZ Alkmaar. So we've got a bit of a buffer there. And also Alkmaar can still qualify. So this is the good thing for us. I think I said this a couple of weeks ago. You know, that game is not a dead rubber.
Mm.
Mostar cannot qualify, but obviously they beat Alkmaar at home in like the first group game. You know, they'll want to at least end the group, against, one of the favourites for the competition with a scalp, really. It'd be the game you'd have been looking forward to if you're one of the Mostar fans. I'm very jealous of like the 900 Villa fans. It might even be less. It might even be 700 Villa fans that are going to Bosnia this week because that is going to be a class away day. And it's like a handful of people really. The pictures of that ground of the away end in particular are insane. It's tiny and it's almost like a cage.
Mm.
By the looks of things, lots of flares and all sorts have gone in there. Like the chairs are burnt, if they're even there at all. There's just like
Mm.
rocks that you sit on. It's like it's not even a proper ground. It's got like a running track around it. It's like a piece of scaffolding that's been half torched,
Yeah.
But those are the European away days you would dream of doing as a fan. So I am very jealous of everyone that's going out there and have a great time and stay safe, of course. Hopefully you see a win. I expect we'll make a lot of changes. I expect, we'll see Clement Longley, we'll see Leander Dendoncker, who did very well when he came on, bar one misplaced pass against Arsenal. But he did do very well. I reckon Matty Cash will start, who also had a very good impact against Arsenal. He was fantastic, I thought, when he came on. Um, we'll see John Duran start. We'll probably see Nicolo Zaniolo start, who needs some minutes and something to kickstart his season, really. Um, the one doubt will be Robin Olsen, because he hasn't been on the bench for the last 2 games. So since we played Legia, he's disappeared. No one knows where he is. Um, I know that he's recently had a child, so I don't know if that's why he hasn't quite been in the squad, which could leave a little quirk of we could see. I wouldn't want to take Emi Martinez at all. I wouldn't take Pau Torres. I wouldn't take Ollie Watkins. I wouldn't take John McGinn. Leave him at home. Let him watch it on the telly. But obviously, in a game where we do need to at least get a point to throw Philip Marshall in for his very first Aston Villa appearance away in the Conference League in Bosnia might not be the smartest call, but
No,
we'll
no.
see.
Yeah.
If we, if he, but it might just mean that he needs to play a slightly stronger team to rest Emi Martinez, I guess, if he wants to do that. So that's the one thing to watch. It's an early kickoff. It's 5:45 in the afternoon. So I'm either going to work from home that day or I will be racing back from work to
Yeah.
make it for that. So don't get caught out like I nearly did for the Legia game all those weeks ago.
Yeah.
Um, be a good game. I think it'll be close. I think we'll probably have enough to maybe win 1 or 2 now. We'll probably leak a goal actually. Maybe 2-1 or something. I think if we get the first goal, we'll be fine. Um, so yeah.
Cool.
And then we've got Brentford away on Sunday, 2 o'clock, not on telly. We never win at Brentford. I'm pretty sure the last time we won at Brentford was in the 1930s. Like we never win there. Granted, we haven't played them
Felt
a
like
lot,
serious.
and
It's a
genuinely,
gen-
yeah, yeah. But then we haven't played them a lot because we
yeah,
went.
for a long
We
time. We
probably,
know. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a recent thing, them even being like the championship, even is like,
yeah. Um, I think back to we've lost every time we've gone up there or gone down there. I think. Yeah, we never win there. We never win there. So not even we got a draw last year. That was it. We got a late equaliser in a game that we really didn't play very well in. So anything at Brentford is a positive. To be honest, if you offered me a draw, Brentford aren't great this year, but their home form is probably still one of the best not as good as ours, obviously, but great home form. small ground, small pitch. I'd take a point.
Fair enough. Cool. Should we wrap it up there?
I think we should, yeah.
Awesome. So if you have enjoyed this week's podcast, please do follow us on Twitter and TikTok.
Yeah, and subscribe on whatever podcasting platform you're on. Leave us the 5-star reviews. They help us out a lot. They help the algorithms out. Check out the Second City Story episodes. We've done 3 of them. I'm not sure when our next one will be, but they're 3 timeless masterpieces on Alex McLeish, Hotter, and Emil Heskey. So go check them out.
Yeah, and you can follow us everywhere with the handle Second City Pod.
Yeah, that's 2ND City Pod. All of you watching on YouTube, you'll see that link tree on the screen now. That'll take you. That one link will give you the option to go to every single place you could ever want to find us.
Beautiful. Yeah, so we'll do the pod slightly, maybe a day later next week, just because Blues are playing on the Monday, so we'll let that go, and then we'll react to that afterwards as well. But yeah, see you next week, Cal. Take care.
Yeah, and you don't have a good week, and up the Villa.
Keep right on, and see you next time.